Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I want to do a video about my second pregnancy. So my daughter, my firstborn, is 4 years old, and as I take this video, I just want to say this is a very emotional video for me, so I just hope I will get through it to the end without breaking down. And yeah, so almost 8 weeks ago I did a pregnancy test and I was pregnant. I don't remember the exact date, but it's almost 8 weeks ago, and I knew I was pregnant before I did the pregnancy test. I had symptoms before my missed period. I had nausea. I had a strong sense of smell, so I was suspecting that I am pregnant. I need to get so as I was saying, I knew I was pregnant before even I did the test. So on the day that I missed my period, I did the pregnancy test and it was positive. And after doing the test, everything was going south. I was having so many symptoms. I was having headaches. My breasts were so sore. They were just painful. And I was just not feeling okay. And the smell, the sense of smell was too much. It was crazy. I just didn't feel okay anymore. So I'm sorry, I am still feeling not too good. And after a few days I couldn't go to work, so I got sick leave for 2 weeks because I was feeling very weak. I wasn't being able to eat, and I lost my appetite. I had food aversions. I didn't want to eat anything. So every time I used to open my fridge, because of this sense of smell, I just felt like vomiting. So that was the week 4 towards 5, and it continued like that, and it was getting worse. And at around week 6, I was really in a bad state, so I couldn't take the soup because I couldn't take water. For the 4th and 5th week, I was just taking soup, any kind of soup, and rice, mix it with soup. So at around week 6, I couldn't take soup. I couldn't take any fluids. So I went to the hospital and they put me IV. And okay, that was around week 6. And when I was at the hospital, they was giving me some crackers, and the only thing I used to eat without having to throw up was fries with salt, with too much salt, so a lot of salt. So it was, anything salty was okay. And I stayed in the hospital for week 6. Then I went back home. After 4 days, they discharged me. I tried to go home and try taking, I was cooking tea with milk, and I was taking, I don't even remember what I could take, but it was not water. And after around just a few days later, week 7, I had to go back to the hospital again. And after going to the hospital to get water for 2 days IV, I went to the doctor, to my gynecologist, who gave me some, we call it here in Germany, Vomex. So they gave me Vomex, and because I couldn't swallow anything, I couldn't even take the vitamins and the folic acid. They gave me pessary, so you have to insert them in your ass. and that is the only thing that I could do, and that makes you so tired. That's why I used to just sleep all day. This My head was so dizzy because of the medicine, and I was just feeling weak. That is week 7, week 8, and then after at my week 8 appointment, I went, and it was dramatic. They said it looks like I'm having twins because they see 2 heartbeats, and they think it's conjoined, and somehow on the ultrasound it looks like the two of them are joined somewhere. It wasn't clear, so they told me to come back after 10 days, which I came back, and after 10 days they could clear that up, and just it was just 1 heartbeat. So at around week 9 I had bleeding. I had bleeding around 10 p.m. at night, which was not just um, something to be ignored, because it was a lot of blood that I saw. And then I went to the hospital, and they checked, and the baby was okay. And so I didn't stay at the hospital overnight because I didn't want to, because they said they won't do anything for me. They just give me some progesterone. So I decided to come back home and wait for the next day to see whether the bleeding would stop. And when I woke up the next day, the bleeding was minimal, and I went to the gynecologist, and everything was fine. The heartbeat was still there. There was a lot of blood in the ultrasound, because they said I don't know what you call it, where the baby was, where the fetus is, it was bleeding. It was on the ultrasound photo, it was black, so she said it's blood. I don't know. So she sent me back home and was gave me some progesterone tablets that they should help. So I'm sorry. After going home, I continued struggling with eating. Also, eating was not easy. If I just get 2 or 3 spoons, it was a miracle to get anything, and it was a miracle to just take some fluids and not vomit, because for me the fluid was the worst part. So at this point, I have my friend who's coming over and helping me out with the baby, with my baby girl, and helping me out with the cooking. At this point, I couldn't clean. At this point, I was just staying on the sofa morning to evening. So I was basically half dead. At week 10, I went to the hospital again to get some fluids, and at this point I was giving up on the pregnancy, because I was just feeling sick. I was just feeling more than sick. I was feeling dead. I was just unhappy. I just hated the pregnancy. I just hated everything. I wanted it to stop. And anybody who knows me knows that I am someone who always wanted to have 2 children. So I really wanted to have this baby, and I used to tell God, please just let me just make it to the end. I already made it through 10 weeks. Just let me give birth to this baby, because I am giving up and I don't know whether I can make it. And I knew from the first day that was going to be my last pregnancy, because I was feeling so angry at the whole pregnancy and the symptoms, and I don't know, I was actually at a very bad mental state. So as we speak now, I was supposed to be 12 weeks pregnant now, and I am not pregnant anymore because I decided at 11 weeks pregnant that I cannot continue because my daughter was sick. She was worried about me. She was just asking every day how long it will take for me to get better. And she was suffering and she needed her mommy, and the mommy was not there. And so I decided to have an abortion, which was the hardest decision I ever made in my life, because I really wanted this baby, and I already knew I had already made it to the 10 weeks, and I was already heading to 11 weeks, and I really wanted to have this baby, but I couldn't. I didn't have the strength anymore. Today I look like someone who is alive, because I used to look like just a zombie. And even now I don't feel good. I just feel sick. I don't know. So after the 11th mark, I made an appointment to have an abortion. And they used to do something we call vacuum aspiration, where they just pull and suck everything out of your uterus. So I had the appointments made, and I went. And even in the morning when I went there, I was so sick, I was vomiting, and the doctors, they just knew that I had to do it. So the abortion itself was not painful because I got some sleeping anesthesia. So you sleep through the 15 minutes, and when I woke up, it was just done. The only thing that I was left with was bleeding. They gave me pain medication, IV, and I went home. But on my way home, I was vomiting all the way. I was just feeling nauseated. I was just feeling like I was still pregnant. I just was feeling terrible. So, to cut the story short, I am now 5 days post abortion. I still feel nauseated. I still cannot take water. I still have to spit every few minutes. I just spit all day. I just feel nausea. I just feel the smells. So the hormones take time to go back to normal. So don't be fooled when you get the abortion. The symptoms don't just disappear. You still continue suffering for maybe, she said, maybe until 2 weeks. I'm still spitting. I still feel weak and tired. I still hate food. And I still can take fluids. The only thing I have been taking for the 5 days since I had the abortion is tea. I have been cooking tea and just taking tea, like maybe 5, 6, 7 cups a day. That is the only fluids that has been keeping me going. So I'm just trying to, I have a glass of water, which I have been trying to take for the last 2 to 3 hours, but I didn't even manage to finish. That I set a goal, I have to finish this glass before I go to bed, and it's really not easy. I have been having for the past few days some terrible cramps that are so painful that I feel like someone is just on my lower abdomen, just trying to just squeeze it. It's just so painful. So I don't have any pregnancy anymore, and I still feel so bad. My mental state, I don't even want to start about my mental state because I didn't even start dealing with my mental issues. I don't want to think about the pregnancy now. I just want first my body to recover, just for me to get back to normal. But at least I can play with my daughter. I can wake up from bed. I can stand in the kitchen and cook something. And my doctors didn't take it too seriously. I remember how many times I went to my gynecologist begging and begging and begging for them to help me out. So I just want to say, if you're pregnant and you're suffering and going through the same morning sickness, just if you have someone who can come and stay and help you out and help you through the first 3, 4, 5 months, that would be something that you need. And just if you're considering abortion as a shortcut to get better, there is no shortcut. I'm still here. I'm still feeling like vomiting every time I take a sip of something. I'm still spitting, and I'm still feeling like my body is not yet back to normal. So I took a pregnancy test today, and of course, 5 days post-abortion, the pregnancy test was very positive, 2 strong lines. So I'm just hanging in there. And trying to be a happy mom of one. If anybody has any questions, I am glad to answer. I'm glad to help, and just anybody who wants to just judge me or just comment anything, for people who are pro-life, please don't just spare me all that, because I am one person who was always against abortions. And for me to have an abortion, that was the hardest decision I ever made. So I chose me, and I chose to remain healthy because my daughter needs me. Because when it comes to a point that you cannot go and pee because there's nothing to pee, then you know your kidneys are at risk. So I just need to get my weight back, because I lost a lot of weight in the 10 weeks. I need to get my body back. I need to get myself fit. So thank you guys for watching, and feel free to comment and ask questions. Bye guys.